What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Weekly Scratch. We got some juicy topics to talk about, and it has a lot to do with making that money rain, baby. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know exactly what I mean. Am I right?
I don't.
Um, First off, who the fuck is Harry Mack? Ariel gave him a big shout out. So shout out to Harry Mack for something. I guess he called that this specific fight or fights in the past or something like that. I don't follow everything to the T, so guys, please forgive me. Oh, you should do your research for suck my hey, mama tell you about yourself. You see me? I'm a very
Yeah.
busy man. I can only watch the clips sometimes and sometimes I can get to the nitty gritty. But what I'm saying is it seemed like this guy's a pretty big deal, and apparently he trained at our gym at Longos.
Nah, so he basically some kid on the recent card got a bunch of bets came in for him to get submitted at the last second, and he's apparently a really good jiu-jitsu practitioner. So it was, yeah, okay. So I mean,
Dulgarian. His name is Dulgarian. We know
okay,
his
yeah,
name. We can say his name.
Bulgarian. A bunch of people were betting on him to lose by first round rear naked choke or something like that, very specific, and it was like an abnormal amount for that type of fight to be getting those types of bets at all at once. So it got flagged, and then apparently the UFC was notified by it, but they still let the fight go on. So what Harry did was he heard about it, I guess, and he tweeted about it like, "Yo, the UFC is letting this happen, therefore they're complicit," and that tweet went viral. And then that guy ended up getting, I guess, like arrested by the
Submitted.
FBI or something, and he's being investigated now. And then Ariel referenced his tweet on his show because Ariel was talking about all this betting stuff because of this event happening. So that's how Harry Mack has been brought into the limelight and
Yeah.
now because of this tweet, now he's getting a bunch of attention for it, which is good
So
for
is
him,
he
I
like an
guess.
insider? Is he like that guy that was on Andrew Schultz's podcast?
I didn't listen to it. I mean, I don't really know. I don't think anyone's disputing the facts of the case. Like, I listened to Dana on TMZ. I listened to that whole thing. It doesn't look like Dana's disputing what happened. He heard about an alleged, uh, weird betting odds going in towards Isaac Bulgarian. And then it sounds like he talked to Bulgarian or, someone from the UFC contacted him and his team and were like, hey, what's going on? Like, do you have any injury? Again, this is all from Dana White's perspective, so that's what he's alleging, that they spoke to him before the fight, and he said no, there's no issue. And then right after the fight, he got submitted in the first round, which were like huge odds towards that. So then right after, Dana's alleging that they spoke to the FBI, they contacted the FBI. Because look, I will say I do agree with this 100%. The UFC doesn't want a scandal like that. They don't want fighters throwing fights. They want to run as legitimate of a business as I think they can. Um, so I don't think anyone's even arguing the facts of the case. I think everyone's agreeing, yeah, like there was something fishy. But I think what people are arguing is whether or not the UFC is complicit in allowing this to happen because they knew something was happening and they let the fight go on. But I don't know. I guess the tough part would be I don't think you can really just stop a fight because you have a idea that someone might be there's some weird odds going towards one way, but I can see the argument both ways in that one.
Yes, it's a tough one. The complicit thing is a little bit hard of an angle to argue because what are they supposed? Yeah, you're right. What are they supposed to do in a situation like that? Um,
I
a
don't.
lot of people cashed out. A
I
lot of
think.
people cashed out.
Well, also like, I think the main controversy about it isn't whether the UFC is complicit or not. I think it's more so this event is showing how much of an issue sports betting is slash could become is becoming slash could become in because it's so accessible now. Like we all know, like the mafia used to be able to get in people's pockets and get these athletes to owe them a bunch of money, and then they could force those athletes to do certain things on purpose so that they could make more money on the bets. But now because of the phones, everyone can just bet from their phone. It's like so much more accessible. And then even a bunch of UFC fighters came out of the woodwork because of this event and said that they had been approached privately by people to throw fights for a certain amount of money. And I guess Dana was like, why didn't you tell me that before now? But like that's another big thing is it seems like a lot of these younger guys who haven't built a name for themselves yet, like they're getting approached by, you know, other organizations, or not organizations, but like groups of people to like
A lot of broke motherfuckers is what you're saying. Is getting approached.
Let's
Yeah.
just be allegedly, like all this is
Allegedly. A lot of broke
allegedly,
people.
like even for this fight, the Bulgarian fight, yeah, definitely fishy, like considering everything. But he might have just also lost to a good guy. You know, the other guy he lost to was 9-0 undefeated.
Come
kid,
on.
too.
Come
I don't know.
on.
Look, you gotta be devil's advocate. You gotta be
No,
fair about it.
no,
No, you're saying no
no.
chance. You're saying no
I
chance.
rebuke thee.
Dear Jesus. You're
Wow.
saying one.
Steve, you seen this guy fight Francis Marshall.
Yeah, he looked good. You got TK.
Francis Marshall is no slouch. And you saw what he did to him. He torched him in his debut. I hear stories of how he submits Sandhagen and all these other guys over at his gyms. Takes them down relatively easily. And you're telling me this guy lost to a guy in his second UFC fight? Really?
It's impossible.
That means, is this guy Moses? Is this guy the next
Wow.
coming? Is this the rapture we're dealing with in MMA right now? Like, I know the kid is good, but come on.
I mean,
You
look, you gotta
Steve.
be it's innocent until proven guilty. Look, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not even saying that he did or didn't do it, but
Just say your honest thoughts. No one's gonna come after you.
Wow.
The mob is not coming for you.
Look, you just gotta be fair about it. Until all the facts are out, you gotta be fair about it.
So you
All
think
right.
he actually lost the fight, like legitimately?
Oh, what do I think? No.
That was his best effort.
No,
Yeah,
his
what-
best effort? No. And I'm not saying that either. I didn't make that claim either.
All right, I don't,
But this
Steve-
is what they're
Steve's
doing, man.
being
They're going up to
political for
guys who
some
don't
reason.
have any money. Like, essentially, I maybe facetious when I'm saying broke motherfuckers, but yo, that's what we all are when we first get to the UFC. We're broke motherfuckers that just want to fight. We take any fight. We even get to the point where we say we'll fight for free. So you get some guy, some shady dude in a trench coat coming over with a top hat, a wad of cash, and saying, "Hey, what would you do if you throw this fight? Would you do this for me? Would you be interested? What if I told you I could give you X amount, which is probably 4 times the pay that you're gonna get, and you might potentially lose?" So you're like, that sounds enticing. So I get that side of it. Thank God there's a lot of people who actually have integrity. But yeah, it's. I mean,
No, it's a
it's
reality of the
situation.
sport. No, it's a real thing that. But again, like, yeah, even the people that allege that someone came up to them, again, I'd like to hear their stories. I'd like to hear what they mean. Like, who came up to them? Like, was it a shady person you owed money to, or was it a management team? Was it like there should be more questions involved in that. If they're like, oh yeah, someone once offered me some money in that deal. It's like, who?
What would that change? What would that change though?
I mean, look, hypothetically, let's say, again, who knows? But let's say, for example, you're a manager and you got 2 of your own fighters fighting for you, and you tell one of them, hey, like, this guy's got a lot of up. You don't tell him, but like, hey, you could make a lot more money losing this fight, and then you want to push one guy. It's just there are, again, if there's sports betting and if there's people throwing fights, I want to know all the details about it. And I want to know why they would be doing that. I mean, a lot of it could just be, hey, look, this is just a broke guy that wants to make some extra money. But like, I want to know who's the guy taking advantage of that situation, so we can get that guy.
Yeah. So it also brings into
I
question.
think it's all the bookies.
Well, it's bookies, but it's also like DraftKings.
Oh no! Look, if we're talking about sports betting is terrible. Like, I think it's not ultimately a good thing for society, let alone the sport. But look, it's a sad reality of the sport, of sports in general. All you can do is mitigate it as much as you can. That's what I'm saying. Like, I do understand the argument that like the UFC probably they could have stepped in on this one, because I guess the numbers were so strange that they should have before the fight been like, hey, like, they could have been like, what the fuck, like, that, like, this is not a big enough fight that it's worth risking the integrity of this whole thing we got going on. So should the UFC
Big enough
have
fight
called
for
the
who though? Like,
for the UFC, look for the guys. It's like, again, like, let's say for example, neither guy knew anything about it. That's a shitty situation to be in, where you're like, what the fuck, like, my fight got pulled because some motherfuckers were like gambling on my fight. Like, maybe they knew he had an injury or something going in. That's a shitty prospect too. But I guess for the UFC as the organization to protect themselves, they should, or again, like not even to protect themselves, but to protect the integrity of the sport, they should be able to see some of those things and be like, okay, I gotta have the higher power to be like, okay, no, like this fight's not going through. It just looks too shady. But again, the other side of that too is now they caught him. If he did do it, and they can prove he did it, they got to throw the book at him so people know, okay, like if you're gonna throw your fight or you're gonna do something like this, we can't allow that because again, it just ruins the integrity of the sport.
I mean, they did
They're
cut
not gonna
him.
catch the guy.
Oh, they did cut him. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But look, I
No,
will
they're
say,
not gonna catch the guy who made him the offer. At least,
well, oh no, they might not catch the guy, but again, if they make enough of an incentive for other guys never to do it again, where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, look, we threw the book at Bulgarian, like he wasn't even the guy that, was off, or like he's not the guy running the whole thing, but to accept the money, to throw the fight, to do anything like that, you're banned from this. Like you're not coming back to the UFC. There has to be an incentive to never do something like that again.
Yeah. No, you got to throw the book at the fighter. I agree. But there's also, Aljo, you were talking about this a lot online, I saw. It brings into question all these weird ass scorecards that have been happening in the past couple years since sports betting has become more prominent, and also weird ass calls from referees.
agreed.
So I would like to know your opinion on that.
I think like anything else, people are human. I don't know how much refs get paid and how much judges get paid. I would imagine that's probably why we see the same 3 to 5 judges all the time. That's probably the same reason we see the same referees all the time. I'm sure there's some type of ranking system that they have, and for people to work their way up till they get to a point. I don't know how that all works, but the fact that you're dealing with human beings that have bills, that have responsibilities and families, people will essentially human flaw is going to be tempted to do things like that. It's just, how can you say with absolute certainty that it can never happen? The same way people say you can never fix a UFC fight. I feel like there's been a couple of occasions where some of the fights look so weird where you're just like, that looked very odd compared to how I know this guy normally fights and competes. So when I look at that, I think it just makes it easier to question. I'm not saying it is. Same thing, I question the thing with Aspinall. People are like, oh, you should be the one backing him up. I'm like, yeah, I am backing him up, but I'm also questioning, is it as dire as he said? I'm like, only person who could answer that is Aspinall. The same thing. The only people who could answer this question are the referees and the judges, and we have to take their word at face value for it. So, yeah, when there's super odd calls and super odd scorecards, you're like, bruh, that doesn't make any sense. Like, there's got to be some type of other outside reasoning. Are you just having an off day? Are you doing something shady? Or are you just really bad at your job? I don't think there's many other reasons that can justify some of the things that we see. I'm like, we're all watching it on TV in live time, in real time. But yeah, I think it definitely brings into question the judges and the referees. And who else better has an opportunity to skew a fight where someone gets hurt? They can jump in immediately if they want to, and then they can say, oh, you didn't see his eyes from where I was looking. Really? That's your justification to stop a fight when a guy is getting back up to his feet, and you're telling him to move, so he's trying to do what you told him to do? Now, or...
Are you referencing any specific fight, Aljo?
No, I'm not. But I'm just saying in general, when a guy's coming up to his feet and then you jump in at that point, it's like, well, why didn't you jump in from before? Why do you jump in at that specific moment? Or when someone just gets hurt, maybe they hurt the other guy before and they don't give the other guy an opportunity to fight back. It's just like, there's so many weird sequences where you can point to it and have some type of skepticism. Doesn't mean it's absolutely true. But with this happening, how can you not have those questions? I think it's a very valid and fair take. You're dealing with human beings. People are easily persuaded, and money is a hell of a drug and can make people do the craziest things that they would never, ever thought or think that they would do before, So, yeah, I don't know how you even fix it, but it's the thing with the Bulgarian guys, like I said, the Francis Marshall fight, makes his UFC debut, torches Francis Marshall, who's actually a solid grappler, torches him. And then what's his record coming into that last fight? 3-1. Okay, he's fighting a prospect. The betting lines move tremendously. Then all of a sudden he shoots a double leg in like the first 15, 20 seconds, and he doesn't know how to drive and come to his feet. That's flag number one. is this kid really that strong that he got in so deep on a double leg that he couldn't just run through the guy? Okay, maybe I'm just overthinking it. You get to the floor, get to a front headlock. He's holding the hands and doesn't attempt to stand back up. Okay, that was weird. You're a really good grappler. You're a wrestler. You know how to stop a go behind. You didn't put the arm up to stop and defend the leg. You just let this guy go right behind you. Okay, he throws in the hooks, and you start defending the top hand instead of the choking hand. It's all these things that you're looking at. I'm like, yo, dude, I've watched enough fights, and I've watched enough of your fights to go, you sure about that? You sure about that's how you want to go out? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Steve, I know you want to defend the guy and say, like, maybe the kid was just that good, but that was not his best effort. I think we could all agree.
Look, I'll tell you right now, like, watching that fight in real time, I didn't even know about the sports betting stuff. I wasn't on, like, Instagram or Twitter or X, whatever it's called.
I mean, it happened after.
Yeah, well, I saw some people, I guess, like, people were tweeting about it beforehand, too. Some people.
Oh, really?
Like that the betting line shifted pretty tremendously towards this. And then, like, right after the fight, they were talking about it, too. But, no, I was watching that fight live with, again, no context. I was like, that looked weird. Like, I'm telling you, with no context, I was like, that did not look right. Like, again, my assumption was just like, oh, man, he had a really off night. Like, that was a really, really bad night for that kid. I don't know what the hell he was doing. And then once all the sports betting stuff came out, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, no question. Well, again, like, very little question in my mind what that was I just saw. But, look, like you're saying, everyone's human. Look, there could be human error too, and that goes for both ways. The refs, the judges, all that stuff. You got to give. Again, it's innocent until proven guilty.
The human error was guys thinking that they could they could make weird bets like that on DraftKings and not get caught when everything's tracked digitally. That was the human error.
That is a huge human error.
That's
to put in
the
huge
silliest
bets.
error ever. Yeah.
Well, look, I would say also the human error too. Like for Bulgarian is like, man, that looked like to me it looked like a pro wrestling match. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like you're really like, even when he's like fighting the hand, he's like really like, like showing that. I'm like, like I just don't.
And then when he got up,
I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at here. Like, and then again, once you see all the tweets and everything afterwards talking about how the betting line shifted to first round submission, you're like, oh man, like this kid's in trouble. Like this is not, again, they should throw the book at him. Unfortunately, just because there should be a precedent of like, even I was listening to Dana again on TMZ. He kind of vaguely mentioned the James Krause situation. Like that kind of got.
Well, he was in a picture with James Krause.
I know he was one of James Krause's guys prior to this, and even before this, the fight week, he was talking about how he feel like fighters should get a portion of the winning bets. That people like, dude, there was nothing going in this kid. Let's be clear. In the court of public opinion, it's over. Like there is no question what happened.
To be fair, I do think
I'm
when
not.
guys win bets on the fighters, there should be, at least when you see the fighter, you should be buying that person a beer or buying their meal
no question. No,
if it's like a big bet. If it's like $150, I'm not going to break your balls over that. But you want a couple $1,000 for you to come up to me and shake my hand like, yo, man, you won me a lot of money. I'm like, good. I worked really hard. You want to buy a round for me?
That'd be nice. Like, that's the courteous thing to do at the bare minimum. But, well, how about the...
I'm joking, by the way. But just saying, it would be nice.
Calvin's argument would be if they lose, you owe them a beer. Because that's, you got to be fair about this.
That's funny as hell, actually.
That sucks.
It goes both ways, Funk.
Look, that's the logic, unfortunately.
Cuts both ways, damn.
No, but
there's too many people that bet. So, I can't keep up with those.
I was saying for the James Krause thing, too, even. Like, that should have been a bigger issue. I mean, look, I think Dana White did mention in that interview that it's still an ongoing investigation, but like I see James Krause is still kind of like he's in the background, but still involved in the sport. Which again, I don't know if that's even right. You should dude. I always said like if you're betting on your guy, like you're a corner or you're a coach, you should be able to bet as much as you want on your guy. Like I've never had an issue with that. But if you're betting against your guy, scum move, like pure scum move. You gotta be banned. Like you can't be back.
Wait, I gotta. Wait, go ahead.
Nah,
I gotta finish.
I'd love to hear this.
No, I was gonna say like the weird part about this whole thing too is, like, the sports book is pretty much like a DraftKings, for example, or like a casino. Like all these people who get to profit off the gambling, they can have odds set in their favor. They can make odds that they think are going to be most beneficial to them.
Yeah.
But then the second a guy goes and does something that might benefit him with his own odds against the casino or the sports book, now it's like a huge red flag, and it's like unfair almost. You know, like why do
Well,
these?
Wait, hold on. Wait, say this again.
Yeah. Wait. I want to be like, I'm not ever gonna justify throwing or like,
No. I'm not justifying either. I'm just saying it's like for example,
What do you mean by that?
like if you go to if you go to a casino, the machines can be set to pay out a certain percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a law that it has to be at least this percentage that they have to pay out. So they can basically put everything in their favor. It's like guaranteed they're going to profit. If a blackjack table, the odds are in the casino's favor.
Yeah, but with sports betting, period. That's how it is. Like
no, I know.
Like with,
Wait, hold on. I want to hear this. I want to hear this point. What you're trying to get at?
It's just
Aljo
they do they do have a lot of they have a lot of power that allows them to reap these rewards and prey on all these people who want to bet. But it's like I'm not saying you should cheat, but I'm also saying like it's kind of annoying how like you can't do anything to put the odds back in your favor either.
You're saying like in a way to tilt the favor in your odds.
Yeah, and the one time somebody does it where it really won't like it's not going to affect their business at all. It's like that kid loses his career. Like he made a stupid mistake. Now his whole career is fucked up. Everyone is going to go to jail. They're going to make an example out of him. Dana's saying they're going to bury anybody whoever even talks or like if anyone breathes in the same room as somebody who's trying to throw a fight, they're going to get the whole FBI to crush them. Like it's just like but the sports book can set their own odds. The casinos can set their own odds. It's like these betting companies are so predatory and they have the odds in their favor. It's like I don't know. It's just something. It's something to think about.
It's considered fraud, is the term that I was told. If the athlete is to do something like that, which I don't really understand. It's like I get what you're saying. It's like, well, you're already at a disadvantage because you're betting against the house, where typically the house usually wins. So I get what you're saying. It's like, well, their odds are always so much greater than the everyday person, the everyday individual who's betting. Now, the person who's actually involved in the bet. So I guess I could agree with that if it was more so the bettor versus the athlete themselves. But I guess in order for the bettor to do that, they would have to get the athlete or animal, whatever they're betting on, to kind of go along with what they're trying to do to skew the odds back into their favor. So I get what you're saying. It's just, how do you do that without being scummy about it? Because at the same time, you're also taking money from other people who bet on said odds that they're not in the know about this whatsoever, right? So
I guess what I'm saying is like, first of all, casinos have been caught cheating all the time. Like they do weird shit to skew in their favor. Anytime a casino opens up in a town, that town becomes destroyed. The more legal betting becomes, the more degenerate our country and our youth seem to become, because a lot of times when people participate in this stuff, they fuck up their own lives, they fuck up their money, they fuck up their futures. That's all legally okay. But the second the second a broke kid throws a fight, he's fucking destroyed. He has no career. He has no prospects left for his whole future. It's like they're allowed to have their way on humanity, but like you can never get them back. The one guy who goes against the casino gets the whole book thrown at him. It gets Dana White, the FBI, everybody thrown at him, and he loses his career. It's just like shitty to me, because I'm not a huge fan of all this betting stuff and these casinos having so much prominence in our culture now. I'm not saying you should throw fights. I think that's a stupid thing to do, and I think you're fucking yourself if you do that. But it's just annoying that, like,
all the power goes to one side.
Yeah, they get all this power, and like the average person has no power. Yeah,
I legitimately hate gambling, mainly with the passion, because all my family, they all gamble.
And you see how detrimental it can be.
Yeah, so when you see it firsthand, you're kind of like, yo, this is absolutely destroying these people. And it's my own family. And you watch it in real time, you're like, yo, you have a problem. Mm-hmm. And because it's legal, it's not an actual issue. I guess everything in moderation. But to your point, Jake, I think the best thing that you could ask for is if the odds were closer to 49-51, so that there was a little bit a better favorable chance for these people who gamble to actually be able to win. Otherwise, it's just like, this sucks. Like, you're going to a casino and you bet all this money and you're just never gonna really win. And the guys who do win, good luck, because more than likely you're gonna be right back there and you're gonna be gambling that money away again. And yeah, so at the end of the day, the house literally always wins.
Yeah, no, they do.
In a perfect world, sports betting, we just get rid of it. We just get back to good old-fashioned fist fighting without crazy betting. You know, you can still bet under the table, go to a bookie. You know, at least have some class about it. I just don't like they're just making sports betting uncool. It's just too easy, too accessible. Again, for young people, it's just not. You shouldn't be wired to be doing that so young.
It's degenerate.
You should have a requirement in your savings before you're allowed to bet, and then there should be a threshold. If you hit this minimum, you're no longer allowed to bet.
Look,
I know I do the gambling stuff with like with like DraftKings, Jackpocket, and all these other stuff. I'm super against it, but I've also looked at the bright side. I try to look at it from a more positive viewpoint, and it's like, well, people are going to gamble regardless, whether I'm the one promoting it or somebody else promoting it. So it's like, well, at least I can promote it and tell people to gamble responsibly, and hopefully they don't fuck off and become a degenerate.
Well, that's it. This country's founded on you should be able to do not answer whatever the fuck you want, but like, you get to make your own decisions. You know, everyone's an adult; they can do whatever they want. But it's tough when you're dangling this stick in front of already a guy that's got an addiction to something. It's like, okay, now it's so easily accessible. You know?
Yeah, you can just do it from your phone.
At any moment.
It's
you want.
so accessible that people don't even go to Vegas anymore because they can gamble from their phones. They can gamble from their laptop. They can play roulette on their screen.
That's what I'm saying. It should be more like that. It should be more difficult to do.
Yeah,
it
like, should be.
It
was better when you had to go to Vegas to gamble or AC to gamble and see prostitutes. Now you have porn and gambling right at your fingertips at all times, and it's like you don't even want to leave the house anymore.
Yeah, this
but bro, you got porn sites bookmarked on your.
What are you talking about?
I haven't.
Jake,
no, I don't, bro.
Jake, come on now, Jake. That's crazy.
I don't.
I'm joking.
I don't.
I'm joking.
I actually I got receipts for this actually, but we don't have to get into it. But anyway, I mean, I think we've kind of covered all that. I guess
my boy Jake's a retainer now.
No, I'm not. I just don't. I don't do it myself anymore. What's it called? I got a guy for that now. No, I'm kidding. Do you guys want to talk about Mamdani getting elected to New York? This seems like the talk of. This seems like the talk of. We're all.
Oh wait, no! I got a story. My story. I almost
shit,
forgot. I was like, there was something else. So there's a fight camp. A guy had a big fight coming up, and I guess he got. This is what I'm hearing, like, locker room talk kind of stuff, but I won't say any names or any gyms. And the person comes up to them, a coach comes up to them and goes, hey, like, how you doing? How's your injury? And like tapping the body part and kind of like, you sure everything's okay? Like, will you be good for this? And this person has a track record of betting, so they bet against the person because they knew the person wasn't gonna be healthy. I was like, damn, that's foul.
Is that his guy?
That's their guy. It's at the same gym. They work at the same gym.
I
Coaches
guess.
the guys.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I feel like that's shady. Look, I mean, I guess it's not your, but still, like, I guess it's fine.
I'm gonna have people asking me, who did that? I'm like, no.
But yo, that's still fucked up. Like,
Alja, honestly, you should hide that. The FBI might be on you too. Like, yo, you gotta start naming names.
Yeah.
No, but that doesn't mean that the other person was in on it. It's just they checked on the injury. They're like, well, if you're injured and I know about the injury, now as a person who's inside the camp, they go, I could do the morally right thing and bet on my guy, like he's gonna overcome this. Yay. Or, you know what, they're pretty beat up. They're probably going in there. It's almost like the TJ thing, right?
Yeah.
He knows he's pretty banged up. Who's to say like people didn't bet on him knowing that, hey, this guy's got a really bump shoulder. There's a good chance he probably loses and get finished.
Yeah.
Well, like, I think it's kind of a fucked up thing to do morally. Like, Aljo, even if I knew, like, let's say I knew you had a catastrophic injury going into a fight, I'm still not betting against you. Like, just off principle. Like, I just won't bet.
So are you gonna bet on me?
Probably not, but I'm not gonna bet. I'm not gonna bet against you and reap benefits off your loss. I think that's kind of fucked up.
I appreciate you.
But yeah. Or if I do, I'll split the money with you.
Oh, we're getting banned. I'm getting FBI's coming to my house tomorrow.
No, but see, even like that, that's where the fine line is too. Like, I'm not in your camp, but I know you really well. I know how I can, I know Dennis is training with you. I could where do you draw the line? Like, can a coach?
Well, I agree with that 100%.
Where do you draw the line?
Where do you draw the line?
Like,
yeah.
if I'm not in your camp, like I wasn't filming you in the last fight camp, but I know I'm really close with all of you guys. I could easily get any info I want. Like, people are asking me if I have any info. I don't have any, but like, do you call me an inside bettor?
Yeah, because you know how many people call me and ask me, or they'll text me, or they'll send me a person. Yo, how's Marab looking? Yo, how you feeling? You feeling good? I'm gonna put a lot of money on this one. And I'm just like, yo, this is so uncomfortable for you to even ask me this. It's like, I'd rather not know you're gonna put a lot of money on me. And two, I'm gonna just say, yeah, I'm good. Everything's going great. I'm never gonna say, yeah, I really tweaked this week. My wrist is really jammed up. I haven't really been able to train. I couldn't really spar. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Most fighters aren't gonna do that, at least that I know of. So it's a weird situation. And this was part of the conversation on the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz and that guy he brought in, the insider that he breaks news. And he was talking about the whole Chauncey Billups thing, the coach. Also former NBA player running like poker tournaments and stuff. And these guys are like taking advantage of these other guys. And I guess they had glasses that could see through the cards or whatever. And these guys who don't play poker are winning these crazy hands that they should not win, right? So this shit is everywhere, man. It's scary.
But
That's
now
why I don't bet.
Now it's even more
because of this shit like that. It's like, how do you know how someone is feeling?
Well, now it's even more like easy to do.
Risky, right?
Because it's on our phones. But like, this has always been a thing because guys would get with bookies who are with the mafia. They'd end up owing them a lot of money, and then instead of paying them back, the mafia would just have them throw fights, or yo, you got to go miss the first 3 throws of this football game if you're the quarterback, shit like that. I almost feel like,
bro, those guys get millions of dollars. Why do they even bother?
Because they get into $750,000, $800,000 of debt, and they don't have the type of cash to just pay that off. So that now they're in with these murderers who are gonna like hold their family hostage if they don't do what they say. Yeah, it's weird. But anyway, I feel like we've harped on this enough.
All right, that's good.
And I saw Dana kind of getting upset. I know this is the last thing. Getting upset at some of the fighters who were coming out saying that they were approached. One of them that comes to mind that was pretty funny was like, yeah, I got approached to throw this fight, and then someone asked him how much. He was like, it was like pennies, but it was like $70K. Vince Morales, he was like, I got paid to throw the fight, which I ended up losing anyway. I just thought that was so ironic, but it was funny. It was just like, damn, he got offered more money to throw the fight, and he lost anyway. So it was like, damn. So now it's like, it just opens up more of the Pandora's box to like thinking how many people are actually approached and what fighters actually do and say.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, Zohran Mamdani.
Oh shit! I didn't think we were gonna talk about it. Look at that, Joe.
I got a hot take.
I'm rooting for him.
I don't think
you gotta hope that he does the right thing by the city, but it's not looking great.
What's your hot take?
Nothing's gonna happen, bro.
Yeah, right.
You can't just because he says he's gonna do all this crazy shit doesn't mean it's actually gonna happen. Second off, he could tax billionaires 2% more than they're already getting taxed, but billionaires' wealth isn't like their income isn't really. They're not billionaires' wealth is not based on their income. It's based on the things they own and what they're valued at. And most of the money they're spending is loans from the bank at a really small interest rate that's leaned against what they actually own. They're not really taking much actual income to be taxed on. Like, this is how they avoid being taxed. So they're in New York City because that's the best place for them to be business-wise. And a 2% tax isn't going to change really anything for them. So they're not going to leave. Everything's going to be fine, I believe. And corporations spend all their money so they don't have to pay taxes. Like, they're not paying taxes. Like,
I just find it
avoiding this stuff.
Aljo, be careful with your words.
I have a way with words that people just like. I feel like I say what I say properly, and then somehow it doesn't get communicated the right way.
I disagree, but go on.
I feel like the stuff that Mamdani, and I didn't follow everything because I don't have time to be up the asses of all these politicians and everything that's happening in today's news. I feel like if you're up the ass of every single thing that's going on, what are you actually doing with your life? How do you have this much time to pay attention to everything? Makes no sense to me. But
Podcasts.
Broke people have a lot of time.
bro, they do.
And broke people who have time are broke because they think somebody's going to save them, so they spend all their time on this type of shit. But anyway, go
And
ahead.
then they vote for Mamdani.
without working
Yeah.
towards something else to help them get a better pace of life, right? But I feel like a lot of the talking points that Mamdani's been running on is very similar to Donald Trump about the expenses and all this stuff and how he's going to make the cost of living go down and X, Y, and Z. I feel like this stuff is never going to change unless we have a recession that crashes and burns everything to the ground. Like, what can he do going into office that's going to change and reduce the pricing? Trump said the same thing. I voted for Trump. People can hate me for it. I voted for him because I want to change, and I'm also a business guy. I thought it was better for my living situation currently where I'm at and my family because I'm the one that's mainly providing for everybody. Okay. Now, that's the way I view that. I was always a Democrat because that's what I was told to be. You're black. You got to be a Democrat. Why would you not be a Democrat? You get all these things for free. And not realizing, like, oh, these things that we get for free are actually out of the tax dollars of people that are actually working. So do I want to always be that person who's just looking for handouts all the time? No. I would eventually like to be one of those guys who's working and building something for himself bigger than whatever. I think you guys can get my point. Now, I think I also voted for Trump because I want to change something different than what Biden and Obama promised. And even people who are mad at Trump still have yet to realize that Obama's administration has hand over fist deported way more immigrants than Trump has done, I think, in both of his terms to date combined. And people don't talk about that enough, which pisses me off because they keep saying, but he's doing this and he's doing that. But you didn't say anything about my fellow brother who did that. It wasn't a problem because you just wanted a black guy in office, and I was one of those guys. Now I'm old enough and more mature to understand the politics and what's going on to it and realizing these guys are just puppets. No matter what, they're going to say whatever they're going to say to get into office and keep themselves wealthy. And that's just the bottom line. So going back to... What was that?
Sorry,
cool.
I thought turned my phone off.
But going back to the cost of living, I just feel like all his talking points are relatively the same talking bits that Donald Trump also used to run on. And people got empowered by that. And it's a very powerful speech. When you hear this and you can relate to it, it's going to make you more inclined to want to vote for that person. Now, with that said, I think a lot of people also who have voted for Mamdani, at least from the one poll that I saw, the picture stat, and I didn't fact check this to know if this was actually like a legitimate poll or not. Again, I don't have time to go checking every single thing. But when I looked at this, it said the most of the people that voted for him were immigrants. Now, is that right? I don't know. I think it's up to people to decide whether or not that's right. But with that said, cost of living, talking to everyone's heart, you're pulling at their strings. What can they do to actually change that and make change for everyone involved? I think it's going to be a very difficult thing. And I don't know where you actually begin. From an economic standpoint, it's just like, what do you actually do? Do you go in and tell the grocery owner that he can no longer price these chicken and eggs at this price point? He has to cut it in half so it's more affordable for everybody else. Do you tell that guy, okay, he says yes, but then you got to now talk to the guy who's supplying it to him and keep working up the chain? Like, there's no way it changes unless I feel, and I could be completely wrong, it has to be some type of recession crash that brings everything back to a normalized level where everyone could not want to say start over, but have a more reasonable pace of life that people can afford. Housing is the craziest cost that just keeps going up, especially in New York City. It's, what are we even talking about? Like, people can't even afford to live, let alone rent a room. Like, we're grown-ass men. I'm 36. I know people my age who still have to live with people because they don't have the income to purchase either their own home for a down payment or enough income to go buy, or should I say rent a a apartment for 1 or 2 bedrooms because the cost is just through the roof. And oh, you don't have to live in New York. You could go move somewhere else. Maybe go live in, I don't know, South Dakota or something in like a rural area. But okay, so I got to give up everything in my life and everything I worked for and my friends and family to go move here just so I could survive. I don't think that should be the case either. I think it should be a fair cost of living that people can afford. Landlords shouldn't be able to gouge prices and keep raising rents every single year and forcing people to like it's an uncomfortable conversation, but it's the truth and the reality of things. Like, yeah, it's a capitalist society, but dude, this shit's fucking hard. It's hard. I'm
100%.
very fortunate and blessed to be where I'm at now, but it's not easy, man. It's a grind for the everyday person.
No, look. I mean, look. You said the word recession. Probably. Look, honestly, I'd say like revolution is probably the only actual legitimate solution. Just everyone looks at it as like a left versus right issue. Yeah, in reality, it just seems like it's like the haves and have-nots. Like, if you're a billionaire, whatever, like, why would you want anything to change? Like, everyone should just like have everyone fight about, the price of gas and the price of groceries and stuff like that. Um, but I think whether you again, like, at least in my lifetime, you've had a Republican, you've had Democrat. You haven't seen any real substantive changes either way. Like you're saying about like the cost of housing, it hasn't changed. It's only gone up since I've been a kid, since I've been younger. Um, I don't know what you do about that. I mean, you don't let corporations buy private properties like that. That's insane. Like corporations shouldn't be allowed to own fucking 20 houses. That should be one easy solution. But
Easy.
that's an easy one. But yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like for a guy like Mamdani, I was talking to Longo about today. I get why young people would want to vote for a guy like that. Like it sounds very good. It sounds like a very nice thing. Oh, like everything's gonna be cheaper. Like everything's gonna be, more affordable for everybody. But yeah, again, I think ultimately, like what Jake's saying, I think he's right. It's the same shit with a different face. Ultimately, until these politicians, until all these people that are actually in charge have a reason to change, why would they?
As the great Joey Diaz says, it's all bullshit. If you're not out there getting your dick sucked, then why the fuck does it matter? You should be out there fucking trying to make money. Why you got time to worry about all this other bullshit going on? It doesn't affect your life, but this actually affects your life.
Yeah, and look, you said, look, I voted for Trump too. What happened to the Epstein file? Look, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of there's shit on both sides where you're like, dude, what the fuck? Like you like again, everyone
Look,
sucks.
a squirrel.
That's what I'm saying. If you're in politics, you probably suck, unfortunately. So I think there's gonna have to be some real big changes if anyone wants actual changes in their lives to be noticeable.
Yeah, I've actually racked my brain and trying to figure out what could you actually do to make change in this economy, and I'm thinking about but I'm also thinking about it from a standpoint of a New Yorker, Long Islander, right, and how expensive everything is, and the only thing I could actually think that could possibly work is if you allow people to rent or buy a house where, well, renting is different because there's no interest rate, but if you give people an opportunity to be a homeowner. And let's say you give them the ultra low interest rate of maybe 1 or 2%, something reasonable, where these banks are charging some of these guys 7, 8%.
All that does is make prices of the house go up because now I can get.
I know there's an inverse reaction with that, but then if that's the case, yeah, but if that's the case, there should be a cap on how much a house can actually appreciate within a year. So I know we had the crazy thing during COVID where houses just for some reason skyrocketed because interest rates dropped to like 2.25, 2.5, 2.75. And then you have these bidding wars and you got all these companies buying up these houses that people can't compete with, right? So
I mean, but you can't every control you try to place on the economy is it's going to leak out somewhere else and have some other kind of negative effect. Like the thing that's going to control the price of houses is they're going to get so high in New York that people just aren't going to try to buy them, and then they're going to go buy houses somewhere else, and then the prices of houses in New York are going to go down because the demand went down, and that's just the natural cycle of things. Like, even in Long Island, I have a bunch of real estate clients who sell houses. For the past few years, it's been a seller's market. When a seller lists a house, they're usually going to get $100,000 more than asking because the demand for Long Island houses has been so high. They could do that. They could get that $100,000 over asking without any kind of inspection. They could waive they could get whatever they want, right? They could just, people are just going to, but now that's starting to change people are being a little more picky. They're not bidding so high because it's just too outrageous to buy a house in this market. And now that the people who are selling the houses, it's not as much of a seller's market. It's still a seller's market, but it's starting to go down. And that's how the economy works. That's how free market works. If you start,
But that's the control.
No, that's the natural way of things. If you
That's
start,
the natural
if
way,
you
but
start
that's
putting
also the
if you start putting a cap on the price of the house, I think the negative effect would be people don't want to buy houses here anymore.
That's fine. If the upside of it,
But
in
then
my
you're
opinion, I
fucking
understand the
owners.
capitalist side.
You're an owner of a house. Do you want
Huh?
people to? Do you want someone to tell you that you can only sell your house for X amount, even if it's valued much higher, and someone would pay much higher?
But it's valued much higher because of what?
The demand to live
Because
in a place
someone
like New
said
York.
so?
No, it's because that person's willing to pay this, and I want the house more than them, so I'm going to pay
Okay.
more.
But you're speaking to my point.
But that's a free market.
You're able to sell it for that price point because someone is willing to pay over asking, which means the appraisal of the house is under, and someone else willing to pay extra, which means you have to come out of pocket because the bank won't give you the loan to cover X amount of money for the cost of the house. That's actually how it works. So if the house is appraised at 200,000, right, and they're gonna give you put down 20%. Most people ain't putting down 20%, and of course, Long Island prices are not 200,000. I'm just making easy numbers. You put down 20,000 on the house, 20% on the house. The loan is the bank is gonna give you the 80%. But if the appraiser comes in and says, "Hey, this house is only worth 150," and you have somebody else who comes in and says, "Well, I'll give you 300. I don't care about the appraisal because I have the extra cash to pay for the house." That person is going to get the house. So what I'm saying is not you putting a cap on how much the house can actually be worth. The house, I'm saying the house could be worth X, Y, and Z, right? But at the same time, you're not allowed to take these crazy, ridiculous asking prices because the barrier of entry is so skewed to people who actually have money, where now someone who actually works an honest job, they've saved up all this money after so much time, now they get a chance to try and bid for a house. They're not getting selected because someone else has more money than them. That's not right.
But that's
not right, bro. That's
not right. I disagree with fundamentally.
Look, it's
because,
not right.
Because
Jake, how
But
is
it
that
the
not
way
right?
of it.
no,
it's not right, but it is how it
Aljo,
works.
you've worked your fucking ass off to own how many homes? I don't know if you want
No,
to say
we're not
that.
talking about the seller, Jake. We're talking about the buyer here.
No, I get it, but there's two people in this equation. If
Yes,
I
but it's
own a
not
home,
right. I'm not talking about it's not right for the seller. Yeah, it's right for the seller to get as much money as they can.
Right.
But I'm saying from the buyer's perspective, in terms of people being able to afford homes, how's it right that they can afford the home, but they're being outbid by 50, 100K because somebody else comes in, and because the bank won't loan them the money, they're going to say, well, we can't help you. We're going to give it to this guy because he has extra cash and he's probably just richer than you.
But if that
Jake,
person,
how about this? What
if
about
that
like
person,
the gambling thing you were talking about? How come it gets to be so skewed in the seller side? Like how come, like you were saying,
well,
like,
that's
it's always so
that's we're talking about Long Island right now. But there's other markets where it's not that type of market. Long Island just is one of the places. It's one of the few places in the country right now where sellers are having their way because there's so much demand to live in a place like Long Island because it's such a great place to live. So that's the benefit of owning a home right now in Long Island. Those same people who want to buy a house, there's plenty of places they can buy a house for a much more affordable price. But they want to live in Long Island, so that's the game you're playing. You have to compete in this market. It's a really hard market to compete in.
That's fair. How about this? What if there was a tax on people like coming from out of state to? I mean, I don't know if there already is. Like, if you're coming from out of state and bidding on a home on Long Island, shouldn't there be some sort of like tax for having to buy that?
For like the residents.
I
Yeah,
thought
like
I was talking to
people
two
that actually
Republicans
live
right
there.
now. I thought I was talking to two people who voted for Trump,
Wow.
not two.
Yeah,
two-
but
two
but
big
you
government
still-
people.
both things could still be true. I could still talk to the extent of people because I've come up from that where I had no money. But if I saved up money and I could finally afford a house, you're telling me I can no longer buy this house because I'm being outbid by someone who just has more money and a bigger pocket to play with than I do. And you're saying that's right and that's fair. I'm saying
but
I understand
how
it,
is it
but I don't
wrong?
think it's
That
right
person
if you want to
has
help
more
the
money.
economy overall. If you want to help the economy, get people on their feet, get people into houses, get people from living on top of each other. Why would you not want these people to get out of these positions where they can actually build their own family and get their own space.
No, I do. I just don't.
Because you're
know
almost
if
saying
there's
like,
a
no,
good
fuck
way
those
to-
guys. Those guys should live in an apartment and rent a bedroom with
No.
3-4 families in it for the rest of their lives.
No,
That's
I'm not,
essentially what you're saying.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's other places where they can afford a home and they can start that process of becoming a homeowner. It's just not that one specific
Now, do you take
house.
that same salary?
What do you mean?
Not all the time.
What are you saying? Like, you mean like?
When you go to another state, you don't always take the same New York salary that you get from
No,
Long
but
Island
Yeah,
in the
let,
city.
Also,
let's
look,
take
like, you
nurses.
just
Let's
grew
take
up in New
nurses for
York.
example. In New York, nurses make more than pretty much anywhere else in the country, right?
New York and California, like the highest
But we
paid.
all know. Let's say for example, a nurse could make 110,000 starting in New York, or they could make 85,000 starting in North Carolina. But honestly, the 85,000 in North Carolina goes way further than 110,000 in New York.
Yeah, you're probably
So
right.
you could make more on paper, but you don't actually take home more. After your taxes, after all the different benefits get taken out of your check, now you've got like a lot less actual take-home pay to actually play with in a place like New York. It's still very unaffordable. You need to
Well, yeah,
make
but
like
is it right for
22,000 a
somebody that-
month to make it in. But in if you go to Raleigh, North Carolina, I was just there this past weekend. You can get a house for much cheaper. You can afford groceries much cheaper. You could go to breakfast and get a $5 breakfast. I literally was in a city in North Carolina, Raleigh. It's a real city. I went to a diner and there was a full meal for $5.
You know it's a real city.
No, I know, but like I'm
Raleigh
just
is,
saying,
what
like
the
this
hell?
is an urban area where a lot of people go and there's actual real economy. It wasn't in the middle of buttfuck nowhere.
No, I get it, but like if
And
you
then-
grew
and
up
there
on
was- it
Long
was
Island,
such a
shouldn't you be able to? You worked your ass off your whole life on Long Island, and you want to buy a house out here. Shouldn't you be able to have the opportunity to do so? And again, just not be outbid by a guy that, again, especially not outbid by a corporation that just has, again, deeper pockets to be like, okay, like we're gonna buy this house just to be able to build up whatever, like rent it out to some people.
The corporation
like,
thing, I do agree with, but I'm saying
Yes.
like Aljo, if
And
you
that's,
go
that's
outbid
the first
somebody,
step into
No.
trying to
That
correct
should
it.
be. I think that should be the easiest.
No, I agree with that. There's something should be done about that, but I'm talking about a person and their pockets versus another person and their pockets. We can't really. I think it gets dangerous when you start meddling in the free market between normal people. When
No, I think that's fair,
when
too.
these giant
I think that's fair
corporations like
both ways.
BlackRock and
Wait,
they
why-
start getting involved, that's a different thing. Like I can't.
When did we become a real estate podcast? I gotta go put my baby to sleep. What are we doing here?
Good point.
It's a good
I
conversation.
mean, yeah, it's UFC is boring right now, so we got to talk about
Yeah,
something.
that's true too. You know what's funny? Somebody just sent me a clip of that Brett Johns rolling calf slicer he hit on Joe Soto.
Yeah.
And I swear that the guys didn't even know. I'm like, yo, Aljo fought that guy. And they're like, what?
Literally right after.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, like he was talking about that rolling calf slicer the entire camp. He's like, I just can't get hit by that shit. I was like, you're not gonna get caught by that shit. That's crazy. That's insane.
Yeah. But I do understand what you're saying. I just think if we're talking about correcting the economy, there's got to be a couple of steps that they got to do in order, unless you have just a straight up recession and then everything gets sliced in half regardless, right? So I'm saying if you could control something, if you want to keep the economy the same, pay wages the same, minimum wage, all these things the same, so that people can actually try to get ahead, I still think you have to put some type of cap on some things so that people don't take advantage is what I'm getting at. I understand you want to make top dollar, make your top dollar, but I don't think you should be able to price gouge shit. And some people might say, oh, it's not price gouging, it's competitive, it's free. I get that side of it. But I'm saying as a whole, if we want to do better as a whole, not just saying, I'm just trying to make the best for me and my family, and that's it, fuck everybody else. You can have that mentality. That's cool. I'm not slighting you on that. I just think in general, if we want it to get better, to see everyone start to do better, like the billionaires, if they were to trickle some of that money in or pay other people X amount, things could possibly be better. People have bad spending habits, bad budgeting. Like there's a whole lot of things that people do wrong on their own, and that's not going to necessarily change anything, but it's a start.
Yeah.
Is where I'm getting at. But I don't know. The whole economy is just kind of a fucked up situation. But we do have the one main event that I did want to talk about. Randy Brown, friendly.
Fellow Jamaican?
A fellow Jamaican. I was gonna say a friendly Jamaican, which just sounds so weird. A fellow Jamaican fighting, born and raised in Jamaica, lives in Queens, trains in Queens. He's fighting. What's this guy's name again?
Gabriel Bonfim or one of the
Bonfim.
Bonfims?
18-1 Bonfim. Bonfim was on a pretty good streak himself. let's see, he's on a 3 fight win streak. Just beat Stephen Wonderboy Thompson by split. I did think Thompson won that fight though.
Yeah.
Thought Thompson won that one. But this is a big one for Randy because coming off a highlight reel KO. How many wins? Oh no, actually over Nicholas Dalby. He lost to Brian Battle split. But let's be honest, he fought the same day I fought Mozart, and I believe 100% he won and was jobbed.
Oh, I remember
yeah.
that. Yeah.
A lot of good fights. So this is going to be a good one. Obviously, I just think it's cool for this moment in time, obviously with Hurricane Melissa and everything happening in Jamaica. A win here would be huge, man. So I'm really hoping Randy gets it done. Long, rangy. I think Bonfim does a really good job with his submission attempts. I think if Randy could put his hands on him like he has been doing in these recent fights, string together some good combinations, utilize those long front kicks that he uses, I think he could be a real problem for Bonfim and probably walk him into that right hand that he landed on Dalby and the right hand that he landed on Muslim Salikov, right?
Yeah.
That was nasty.
I'm done. That was rude. But like, no, I think Randy Brown looks like one of those guys that when he's on, he looks like he could beat anybody in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the one fight that I'm really pumped about. There's some other ones on here, but for me as a fight fan, I'm obviously interested in all these, but I know most people probably like, who is this guy? What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm getting to that point.
But yeah, there's some other good fights on there, but that's mainly the most important, I think, that has like good implications to a winner or loser in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't really have much. Oh, Jake, how was your marathon?
Dude, it was awesome. Life-changing, for sure, to just do something that difficult. I mean, I trained for 4 months. I got in really good shape. I'm definitely in the best shape of my life. And I thought it was going to be difficult, but it way exceeded how difficult I thought it was going to be. And it was probably the first time in my life where I had to, like, do something that physically hard where I was so miserable, but I still pushed through and saw it through. And that feeling of being in that pit and then getting out of it and seeing it through, I'm like addicted to that now. Like I want to do that again and again. And it kind of gave me a little bit of insight into maybe what you guys go through. Obviously, I'm not getting punched in the face, but just like the cramps I was feeling, like they got to the point where like at mile 19, every step I took, my entire legs were cramping, my hamstrings, my calves. I would straighten up, like I couldn't control it. And I still had 4, 5, 6 miles to go, and I just had to grit through that shit. And I was like, I've seen Aljo like with 2 pounds left, and he's cramping like this, and he just has to grit through that pain. And I've seen, and like, or like, not knowing if you can get through something, but then getting through it like that, just because you decide I'm not gonna quit, like that's what's making me want to go back and do another marathon, because I want to. Like I think if it was so easy and it was as easy as I thought it was going to be, I wouldn't want to do it again. But the fact that I felt that and got through it, it was like it changed me as a person, and I want to find that feeling more in my life. Cuz it's like I have a lot of good friendships, I have a lot of good relationships. I have a really good relationship with my girlfriend. I have all you guys in my life. My business is doing really well. But like that type of physical challenge it fulfills different parts that those other things can't fulfill. So I was just it was awesome, and I definitely recommend, like, if there's probably a lot of people who watch this who admire the fighters for their grit, but they're not going to become fighters themselves, and they don't have this type of physical challenge in their life like you guys get just from your job. So I would recommend to them, go run a marathon, go train for a half marathon, go do something like that where it's like super difficult, and you'll be much better for it, for sure.
That's really cool.
Nice. How many people would you say sign up for this?
So it was actually interesting. Like, at the beginning of the race, it was like all at once. There was like a 5K route, a 10K route, a half marathon route, and then a marathon route. And there was probably it felt like a sea of people. Probably like 1,000 or 2,000 people were running, I would guess. But it was kind of cool because like there was a point where like the half marathoners and the marathoners were on the same course, but then the half marathon peeled off to this like shorter route, and then it was just the marathons kept going straight, and there wasn't that many people left who were running the marathon, And it was like, oh, like it was like it was like very cool, like to see that, like not that many people actually out of that whole 2,000 people group. Maybe it felt like a few hundred, maybe 500 people were running the marathon, and that was a cool
Well,
feeling too.
500. That's still a lot. I feel like that's still a lot of people.
No, yeah, definitely, but like it was a much smaller group because like when the marathon split off and there was like you kind of run like from mile like 10 to 17 is like a straight line, and then you turn around and you run that exact same line back. So
Okay.
like a lot of the people who were a lot faster than me were passing me, and I was more toward the back. I'm gonna be honest, like I definitely wasn't one of the first people to finish. So like
What place did you finish at?
I felt like I finished last, but I definitely didn't. But like,
You finished, that's all that
Dude,
matters.
definitely had to
there
be
wasn't
someone
that many
behind you.
people behind me like that I could see. But like when I finished, a lot of people were still coming in finishing, so that made me feel a little better. But
Nice.
like not that many. I was definitely one of the slower people for sure, which is another reason why I want to do it again. But like you could see the people who were running like sub 4 hours, sub 3.5 hours, like they were passing me while I was going this way. They were still going this way, or like while I was still going this way, they were coming back toward me. And but it still felt like not that many people passed me. Like I was like, oh, like like all these elite people passed me, but there's still it's still a small group of people who decided to run the 26.2. So
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them were probably in New York. It was the same day as the New York Marathon too, but
That's cool.
it's
I've
also
always
crazy how
thought
many
about running
people.
one.
I
I
was
don't run though.
I wonder if like Marab could just get up and run a marathon. Like the guys who are in, like I wonder like does that cardio carry over? You know?
That's interesting.
If there's
Yeah.
anyone who could do it, it'd definitely be Marab.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
it's-
cold turkey, like not training other than just his normal training regime.
I mean,
I
because he
think he
runs
could
a
do it.
lot. Because he probably runs 5 or 6 miles when he runs.
I could definitely do it like this, but it would just not be good. I'd definitely be closer towards the back because I just don't run
I
in
think
general.
I think most of you guys could do it if you had the proper nutrition. So like if you were getting enough electrolytes throughout and you had sodium tablets. Like one of the reasons I was cramping was because I didn't have enough electrolytes on the back quarter of the marathon, like the last 6 miles.
So explain that. So how does that work? You guys have like a station where you leave your own stuff there, or do you carry it in a pocket like a fanny pack?
No, like so I had a fanny pack with like the carb like goos. So they had like it would have like 25 grams of carbs, but it didn't have a lot of sodium. You need sodium to
Yeah,
stop from
sodium
cramping.
helps you. Yeah,
Yeah, you know that. Like when you
Retain
cramp
water.
from a weight cut, it's because your body you sweat out all the sodium, you can't take any more, and it's the same thing. So like my issue, I think, one, it was a very hilly course, and I there's not a lot of hills in Long Island to run on, so I wasn't super prepared for that. But also like I
you
wasn't.
didn't go to Herrick's, Steve.
No,
you didn't take him to Herrick's.
Dude,
I would've taken him to Harris.
these hills are like miles long going uphill. Like this was a super intense course.
No, it's just Herrick's High School. We used to run the hills over there. It's like a little small hill, but it fucks you up pretty
Used
good.
to. Nah, we still do it. Nah, it's brutal. It's terrible.
But
Yeah. So where are the packs? Where are the packs? Where would you leave the sodium?
No,
then?
I had a fanny pack with me. Yeah.
See, if you get a fanny pack, I think I could do it. I think if
Okay.
I'm allowed to carry my fanny pack, I think I'm making it.
I think you guys could all 100% run a half marathon no training. I think the marathon it would hurt a lot.
that's where it gets
and
dicey.
Yeah,
Marathon would be
like
painful, I think.
Marab, I
Sounds
think
painful.
Marab, I think could run a marathon if he had sodium tablets and gels to have. Like I think his machine could just keep him going. You guys who never run too often, I think your body might just hurt too bad.
Yeah, no, it might explode.
Yeah.
You're right. Honestly,
Yeah.
I did 3 miles like the other week. I was embarrassed at how tired my legs were. I was like, 3 miles, that was it? This is fucking terrible.
But I'm still sore like 3 days later. Like my
I gotta
like
imagine,
every
like-
day I'm limping from some like the first day after it was my quads and my knees were sore. Then yesterday it was my calves. Felt like I couldn't bend them. And then today my left Achilles is like really unbearably sore that I'm limping when I walk. But like it's just like something different every day. But I definitely feel like I could empathize a little more with you guys and what you go through. It's obviously I'm not getting punched in the face. That's a big difference. But I feel like just that that's
Extreme exertion.
and
No, it's
and
still
like
really
and,
cool.
and the suffering,
Yeah.
willing suffering that you guys go through, I can kind of see that darkness a little better now.
Yeah, I think with Marab, you give him a couple quarts of diesel in his fanny pack, and I think he'd run right through that bitch.
Yeah, for sure.
Jake, we should do a triathlon.
I'll do it.
No.
I'll do it. Fuck it.
I did a mini triathlon with Delemmy a while back. I'd be down to do something like that.
I'm down to do a triathlon.
And that just
Aljo,
sounds
you in?
miserable. I mean, I would do it if everybody else was doing it, just twist my arm, but
Let's go.
on my own free will, absolutely not.
How's your swimming technique?
I'm decent. But I would, that would be my slowest portion by
All
far.
right, then we're doing it. Let's go.
I'd
Let's
just
start
be in there
training.
doggy paddling like,
Oh, you're not gonna do it. Then you're drowning.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is everybody should take on a super physical challenge that scares the shit out of them, and just tell everyone they're gonna do it, sign up for it, pay to do it, and then see it through. And
or you could just tell everyone you're going to do it. When the day comes, post pictures like you did it, put some sweat on your face, and then tell everybody how hard and how difficult it was. And then you don't actually have to do it. Like,
Yeah,
you-
look, I'm not gonna lie, Jake. I was gonna comment on your post like, "Yo, is this AI? Is this how good AI's gotten?" But I didn't do it, Jake. Remember that.
that's how good I looked, that it was that unbelievable.
I was like, "Damn, this man."
Photoshop the whole image of him fake running.
That's crazy. Cool, man.
Good stuff though. That's cool.
Appreciate it. All right, let's wrap this up. I think my camera's about to die.
Steve, marathon on the agenda.
We got a triathlon to train for, Aljo.
And I got some 50 milligrams from Georgia.
50 milligrams?
This guy's insane, bro.
Dude, I've just been
Nah,
doing 9s.
Zico brought them back from Georgia, and then Levon gave it to me as a gift. I was like, brother, what am I supposed to do with this?
Give
Like,
me one
let's
of
be real.
those.
One of the fighters said they took it last night, and they recorded him. He said he had it in for a minute, and he had to take it out. And he said he was, like, sweating. His fingers were, like, twitching. His eyes were moving all over the place. I was like, yo, bro. He's like, I felt like I was on drugs. Like, it was, like, some type of, like, heroin or something. I was like, well, one, I don't know how you know what that's like. I'm not going to ask any questions. But he said it felt really trippy, like he was on some exotic drugs. I was like, wow, that's quite the feeling that I'm not quite sure if I want to
That's
know what that's
terrifying.
like.
Save me some of those.
I got you. All right, guys. Hope you have fun with this.
Yeah, we covered a lot. I don't know if we
Covered a
covered
lot.
anything
Economy.
useful. But we
We're
covered a
economists
lot.
now. We care about the planet. Jake
just
doesn't
as-
give a fuck.
That's true.
Capitalism, baby. I believe in it.
I'm
yeah.
with capitalism. I just think
It's the best.
Not
it's
everyone
the
should
best
be
we
fucked
got
up, though.
so far. I haven't seen anything better.
I get you.
Yeah.
all right. We did good.
Good work, gang.
Peace.
Peace.